so glad to be here today. Today, we're going to learn how to make butter chicken, which is so similar to tikka masala. But I've never made tikka masala, but I have made butter chicken, so I thought it would be safer to at least do something familiar. Heidi and I love Indian food, and where we go is to Himalayan Flavor next to Cafe Rio. They have this great buffet that's $11.99 for all you can eat from 11 until 2. And the thing that you can almost always get during the buffet are tikka masala and butter chicken. And then they change other things around depending on what's available. And it's a tough time for restaurants right now because everything costs so much. And even if you can find what you need, even if you can afford what you need, you can't find what you need. So our little god family owns the Thai Zap, the Thai food place, and the other day she called me up and said, "Oh, Suze, our bean sprouts didn't come in. Do you know anybody who's going to Utah so we could go to the Ocean Mart or something?" And so I put it on my trusty dusty Facebook page and said, "Anybody going to Utah?" By the way, and one of our friends was going to a concert, and she's in Tremont, and she's right almost to Ocean Mart at Roy. And so she texts me back because she's also a Facebook addict, so she's always on there. Hey, I can do it. So she got 10 pounds from them, but she probably could have gotten 20 and been better off. But that's how hard it is. And then she uses Gold Mountain soy sauce for all of her seasonings, and she's had it on back order for a whole month. So it's like, oh, Suze. So I said, my son's out to go looking, and then somebody told her that Ocean Mart had just gotten a pallet of Gold Mountain soy sauce. So they drove down there and got as many cases as they could. So it's really a tough time. And I know I've talked to Kumar that owns the Himalayan, and he said it's just so expensive right now. You know, they can hardly stay open, but they still do, because they know once they close, they may never get it open again. And so the buffet is a good thing for us. And I told them, just put a little bit of meat in and lots of curry. It'll make it stretch out way far. And that's the best part, is the sauce part, huh, Heidi? So anyway, so Indian food is also considered an Asian cuisine, because India is part of Asia. And so what you'll find when you look at Indian recipes is that they use mostly the same kind of seasonings, just different mixes, just like the Thai curries, green curry, yellow curry, red curry. A lot of the same things, but just a little variation of their ingredients. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cook some basmati rice. And basmati rice is a different looking rice. It's very long and narrow. I showed these guys. And this basmati rice I actually soaked just in water for 2 hours.
So you just cover it to the top?
Yeah, it just suggests that you do that, because then it becomes more palatable. So I did. Kind of like what I do with Thai sticky rice.
So you call it
Basmati.
basmati.
So
I've never
it's,
said that word correctly.
yeah, so it's a variation of rice. And Indian people use basmati rice exclusively. Okay, so in an effort to be efficient, I actually took all the seasonings for the basmati rice and I put it together, all measured in this little thing, because I saw how some people, when they demonstrate, it's so much easier than trying to measure. But what I couldn't remember is whether I soaked twice as much rice or 3 times as much rice. But anyway, I'm sure we'll have plenty.
So this is the cinnamon, the cumin, the cloves, and the cardamom.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
So at our house, we did not have cardamom.
I know.
So I went to Himalayan Smoke and Craft Shop that's hooked to Goodies. And they had cardamom and it was in little whole things.
Really?
Green pots.
Yeah, so you're welcome to just pass it around and take a little sniff.
Wow.
This little bag costs $10, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in a glass jar when I get home and it'll last for a long time. And then I did have ground cloves. So it's gonna have a lot of cloves, guys. So, because what I did was I put the ground cloves in, and then I decided, well, I don't have ground cloves, so I took my whole cloves. I am so crazy, I tell you. And I put the whole cloves and the cardamom in my mortar and pestle, and I just squished it up. So if it's a little too clovey, you'll know why. Okay.
So that's in this list that she says this,
So
that is the masala.
cinnamon, cumin, cloves, cardamom, salt, and water. So we have pretty much all of those things at our house, except for the cardamom. And it only takes 1/8 of a teaspoon, so if you didn't need it, I mean, I don't think it would make that much difference. The other thing I noticed is if you went and bought some garam masala, it has more than all those things, but it also has those things, so why not just use this instead? But I thought, oh, well, we'll try and be a little more authentic. So I brought my little induction cooker, which I love, because then we don't have to stand over by the stove. So I'm turning it really high. And according to Chinese folklore, it's, if you heat your pan and you heat the oil before you put in your foods, then it won't stick. But I'm so inconsistent, I can't really say that that's what it is. But like woks and all those kinds of things, if you'll let the pan get hot, let the oil get hot so that you've got the smoke point. Yes, Carol?
I use cast iron, which is, I don't do any of the Teflon. And every time family comes to my house, they get so frustrated because they cook their eggs and it sticks to the pan. And I don't have that problem because I do exactly that. I keep the pan hot, and then I put the oil in, and when the oil ripples, before it smokes, but when it ripples, then it's ready.
Okay, so that's, I've read lots of places where they say that's what you do, but I'm not consistent usually in a hurry, so. Okay, so I'm heating up my pan and then I'm just gonna pour some vegetable oil, but this is canola oil, but you can use butter, it's really yummy. Yeah, and this is not a slim food that I'm making today, because I want you to taste what real butter chicken tastes like. But you can find the slimmed down versions where you probably use skim milk, but no, I use extra heavy cream, and I use real butter, and I use all that good stuff, because that's what I like, and I think it's good for you to taste the whole thing. Okay, so my pan's getting hot. And the reason I don't like baking is because you have to measure baking. And when I cook, you don't have to measure cooking as much, so some vegetable oil. And I kind of want it plenty there because I'm going to heat the seasoning, and then I'm going to stir the rice up in it, put the water in it, and cook it so that all of that flavor will be infused in the rice. Okay. Are you rippling? We should have Carol do this part. but I won't stick. Okay, so I've taken my ground cloves and my mortared and pestle cloves and my cardamom that I pounded and what is it? Cinnamon,
Cumin.
cumin, all those things I put it and measured in here, so I'm a little worried about the cloves. Oh well. So,
Yeah, it's right there.
so smell the flavor. So by heating it up in the butter or the oil, you're actually bringing out the flavors, right? So it said to use a cup and a half of basmati rice. Well, I didn't know if it meant a cup and a half after you soak it or a cup and a half before you soak it. So I think I did 4.5 cups of rice because I wanted you guys to eat all you wanted.
Until Saturday.
And what's left, I'll eat. I really want to go to Himalayan. I haven't had time, so. Smell good?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So this is really the Indian flavor. It's the cinnamon, the cumin, the turmeric. And then I'm just going to stir that up in the rice. So I measured the rice before I soaked it. Then it says to use 2.5 cups of water for 1.5 cups of rice. Well, I grew up using the finger method. And so I took the 2.5 cups of water and times it by 3, so 7.5 cups. I stuck it in a bowl, stuck my soaked rice in it, stuck my finger, and it still held true. So basically what it is you can measure your rice that way or use the water displacement method, which is what I use I'll show you in just a minute.
Okay, I have to ask you, it says to soak for 20 minutes, but you said you soaked yours for 2 hours.
Right, so another recipe I saw was 2 hours. So then I soaked mine for 2 hours, then I went and read this recipe and said 20 minutes. So for sure you want to soak it for at least 20 minutes because
Okay.
you can see how, because otherwise the rice is very narrow and very dry. So I'm darn sure that this is going to be a better version.
Did you wash that rice?
Yep.
Okay, I was just checking because I read the recipe and then you said that and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm confused.
So that black rice that Gina cooked the other night, I would have soaked it too. But she cooked hers straight, so
Yeah,
we all do it a little bit
and
differently.
it turned out fine.
Uh-huh.
It was good.
But normally when you eat it, it could be more pudding-like.
Yeah.
So if you would have soaked it and then cooked it, it would have been more pleasant.
So do you drain that after you soak it, you drain it and use new water?
Yep.
Okay.
She'll show you.
So soak the rice,
And then I drained it in a colander.
and then how long do you have to cook it when it's ready to eat?
I'll show you. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm flavoring the rice, right? So, does it smell good already?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You won't need perfume for the rest of the day.
So that's all I've done. So it's just colored the rice. Now I just took a big bowl of water and I'm going to do the water displacement method. Or 7.5 cups of water is just the same. So basically you cover the rice with water and then you stick your finger in it
On top of
Up
the
to
rice.
that knuckle?
On top of the
on
rice.
top of the rice, just past this first knuckle. And this one will be really good because we did soak the rice. But sometimes if you have old rice at home and you use that method and you find it's still dry, then you just need to increase the rice or soak it a bit before you cook it. Because rice dries out, it pretty much lasts forever, but it does dry out the longer you have it around.
Well, tell them that you washed it 3 times before you soaked it.
Right? Yeah,
Okay, well, some of these ladies don't know that.
yeah. Not really, but you can. The thing that I noticed about basmati rice is it's not like your long grain rice that you buy at the store, because when you buy it at the store, it's always enriched with the vitamin B and all that kind of stuff, which coats your rice. When you wash the rice, all of that goes away, which is fine. You just make it up in other places. But what happens is it also makes your rice sticky. And so when I looked at this rice, it was just plain kernels of rice. So I just rinsed it just to make sure it was clean, and then I soaked it. But normally I would take rice and I would wash it until it's clear so that I don't end up with a sticky mess. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put it on the stove.
Benny had a question.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay.
So I need you to help me watch this.
I can do
You
that.
don't have to watch it right now.
Right.
But when
once it starts-
when it comes to a boil, just stir it up. Just get a spoon and stir it up, and then put the lid on it and turn it to low.
Okay.
So what happens is, well, I'll tell you how I cook Chinese rice. It comes to a boil, and it's just like lava. And I just leave it on a high boil until the water evaporates, and you get the lava holes,
The craters.
the craters in your rice. And then I put the lid on it and walk away. You can actually turn off the thing, and within 10 or 15 minutes you're able to eat it. So now it smells wonderful.
Better pass that back to the back row so they get to smell it.
Okay. All right, this demonstration should go pretty fast. We shall see. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my induction ready wok, and you guys would hate to live at my house because I don't care if my wok looks like this. But I know some people want their cookware to always look like it's brand new. But when I cook on high and I always cook on high when I do stir fries. It takes too much time to clean it down to the bone. Plus, if you were using a Chinese wok, you don't want to scrub all that stuff out because it's like your Dutch ovens, your cast irons pans. You want the flavor to go into the pan, and every time you heat it up, the pores open up and you get that flavor. That's why when you make Asian food at home, you never get the same flavor as you do in a restaurant because they've already cooked, thousands and thousands of batches of fried rice, whereas we're only cooking the third time in our entire life in that same pan. So, all right. So I have taken chicken thighs that I bought from Costco, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I took it and I cut it into bite-sized pieces. And I cut it when it was still partially frozen because it hadn't thawed out yet when I was doing it. And it was so much easier than having the chicken, like this when you're trying to cut it. So it was really, really nice. So if you look at the recipe, it says you marinate this for 3 hours or overnight. Well, I have personally done it where I marinated it and cooked it right away because I always forget we're supposed to marinate it for hours. So when we're ready to eat, it's like, oh, well, we're going to eat it anyway, and it tastes wonderful. So this one has been marinating for 3 hours. And what you use is Greek yogurt or any kind of a yogurt that's plain that has all the fat in it. Okay, so this one is Faye, but I've used all different kinds of. And because I made a triple batch, I think, I used 3 cups of the yogurt. Okay, so that has 3 cups of yogurt. It has 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, 3 teaspoons of turmeric, 6 teaspoons of garam masala. So I bought the garam masala from Amazon. And I've had it for a long time, you just use it as you need it. But the Himalayan Smoke and Craft shop that's hooked to Goodies also has garam masala. And nothing shows a price on it, so I have no idea how much it costs, but this costs $10. So I'll bet you that costs $10 too.
But that's a lifetime of what we
I
would
know,
use.
even garam masala, so I would just buy it and then stick it in, a glass jar with a lid on it.
So can you pass that garam masala around with a little so that we can smell it?
Yeah.
'Cause it's just.
All right. And then, I used a 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, or you could use cayenne powder. 3 teaspoons of ground cumin. I used, 3 tablespoons of freshly ground ginger. I smashed up 6 cloves of garlic. And then, I used 3 pounds of chicken thighs. And I have a scale at home, and really when you buy chicken thighs, you have this little piece like this, a real chicken thigh or 2, both of them. So one half of a chicken thigh is about half a pound, depending on how big they are. So I used 6 or 7 of those pieces, and I cut them up into bite-sized pieces. And then I just stuck them in my bowl, stirred it around, and then I stuck it in this plastic bag so that it could travel easily. So my wok is hot, and you can use butter now, or you can use vegetable oil. I'm just going to use vegetable oil. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the rice, just heat up the oil.
Do you wanna tell them what ghee is?
Ghee is clarified butter, right? Do you know anything more about it?
No, it's just clarified butter. You can clarify your own, melt it down, pour it in the container, let it cool completely, and take a knife and slide it right down the edge of the container you put it in, and all the liquid that's on the bottom, it's the whey. You pour that off completely, and what's left is clarified butter. It keeps well, and you can fry anything in it, stands at butter temperature, because there's nothing, it's just the fat, doesn't burn there's fat. Or you can buy it, but it's expensive.
And I never use clarified butter, I just throw in butter. So, you know?
So you really use a hot pan, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it says to not just pour the whole thing in, because it'd be too much liquid right now. Because I'm gonna try and cook the chicken a bit, and if I get some browning onto it, that's a good thing too.
Okay, once it starts boiling,
Does it, how's the water level? It's not got craters.
not, oh no, you want it to get
Let's get
craters.
it to almost craters, and
Okay,
then
I
turn it to low and put the lid on it.
Okay, okay.
We're gonna cook it like Chinese rice and see if it's successful. Then you can always do things the same way every time.
So you just,
I would say the same thing I'm asking.
So I'm sorry, I wore long sleeves, that was crazy.
You're just putting the chicken here, not pouring the juice in.
No, I'm gonna pour the juice in when I put the rest of it in to make the curry. So we're not gonna waste any of it. So good. You guys are gonna be so happy. Okay. Chicken juice, chicken juice. That smells good. So if I was stir frying at home, I would, that's good. I would, see, I've got this really high. You would divide it into 2 or 3 so that the meat would have a chance to brown. But we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna cook it.
if you slide that on the side of your edges, that's a little, I mean, it's gonna get hot enough on the edge of that pan to brown a little bit. Not just
Yeah,
leave it all in the middle.
yeah, it's just just got too much in it right now. Carol?
Just a note on that, when you melt butter, you notice the little white specks in it. Those are the milk solids, that's what they're sticking off when they make the ghee. So for people who have, very sensitivity to calcium in the milk, sometimes they can lose the ghee because that's the.
They take
yeah,
in
the milk
the
protein is skim milk,
casein
and all
off.
that's left is just the fat.
Right.
But if you're super sensitive, there still might be traces in there, so you may or may not be able to use
Right.
it.
Can you just use a regular fry pan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I bring this thing along because it's huge and it's deep, so it's sufficient for my needs. So, and it's not sticky. Isn't that lovely? So you really don't have to keep stirring and stirring, just let it cook on the bottom and then. So I actually brought another one batch that we could have marinated, but I think I was pretty clear on what you did. So I would just open this up and put a cup of stuff, the yogurt, and put all the seasonings in, and then just stick it in the fridge overnight, and it would be nice and flavorful. Any questions so far? Minnie, what was your question?
No, I was just gonna comment that my daughter was here working for 3 months at our home, and she wanted to try saffron, and she wanted to try Himalaya. So we went to saffron first, and she said, oh, this is really good, Mom. Just before she left to return to her home, we tried Himalaya, she wanted to try that. She goes, let's go to saffron. The flavor of the butter chicken, because I love butter chicken,
It's different.
there was no butter. There's just no flavor. So, but Nepal has some good butter chicken also.
So this,
Are we open?
yes, this is going to be my professional guess. One thing I know is the saffron, the cook that cooked at the Himalayan the last 2 years
Yeah,
left
Mohammed.
Himalayan to open the saffron. So the saffron used to be the bamboo garden. And so this is my guess. If you go to Himalayan at night and order butter chicken or tikka masala as an order, it would have a totally more flavor than the buffet, because the buffet, they make it in bulk, and they're hoping that the one pan that they make will go clear through the lunch hour. So if I was gonna be skimping, and I'm not saying that they are, those are the areas that I would skip on, is less butter and less cream and all that kind of stuff. But if you're gonna be paying $15 for the entree, then they're gonna use all of that. That's my guess. So the saffron is Mohammed, and I love, oh man, he is a great cook. But he's suffering now because this is just not a good time to be opening restaurants. Everything costs a lot, and numbers wise, there just aren't a lot of people that are gonna try new things, or we're gonna go and buy our $11.99 buffet. Because then we can eat what we want and enjoy it that way. So if I had only done 1.5 pounds, this would be nice and cooked. But we're actually gonna cook this for a while longer, so it has a chance to be totally done. Okay, so read the recipe. It says to marinate the chicken, cook the chicken, so you heat it in oil in a large frying pan. Take the chicken out of the marinade, but do not wipe or shake off the marinade, but don't pour the marinade in. Place the chicken and cook for around 3 minutes or until the chicken is white all over. Well, it's not going to be white all over in 3 minutes because I have tons of chicken, 4.5 pounds or however much I have in there. And then it says to make the sauce by adding tomato sauce. So I just use tomato sauce. You could go and buy some some fancy kind, or whatever, but I just use regular tomato sauce. And I measured that right.
Yes, perfect.
It's perfect.
Precisely.
Precisely. And then I'm going to add,
Cream.
cream.
Cream, sugar, and salt.
Okay,
And butter.
2 cups of heavy cream. Or 3, I'm just gonna use 2. Because I don't know. But when you eat this, you're gonna say, well, I don't have to be that exact in the measurements, because it's not that big of a deal. Don't be a nervous wreck over cooking stuff, because cooking is just an art form, and you make it the way that your family likes it. At my house, we would make it with lots more chili powder or cayenne, because we like it. So I'm gonna put 2 cups of heavy cream in it instead of 3. See, and these are the cool cups that we have here at the kitchen that you buy at Walmart's. I mean, who gets a 2-cup measuring, right? And a 1.5 cup and a 1 3/4 cup. It's just awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah, be careful. If you're in the front row, you could be injured. Okay, tell me what else I'm putting in it.
Sugar, salt,
How much sugar?
That's on the other side.
3 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm gonna do 6 tablespoons of sugar, which is, would be, huh? Oh, 1, so don't triple it.
Oh, yeah. 3.
Ew!
I tripled it for you.
Oh, thank you, Heidi.
It might mask all the, what was it that we put the extra in? The clove?
That's in that.
Oh.
Okay, 3 tablespoons of sugar. What else?
Salt.
How much? Triple it for me.
3 3/4. It's on the other side.
3 3/4.
3 3/4 teaspoon.
So a tablespoon and a fifth.
Yep.
We just did a tablespoon of sugar, so we green and a little red one.
Wait, my,
Big green, little red.
oh, this is, oh, there, yeah. I'm sorry, I think I'm, not on my game today, so. Forgive me. Yep. 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon. And then how much more? The
Red,
red?
little red one.
Little red one?
Yep.
Baby red one?
Baby red one.
I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay. And that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So if I was going to serve this fancy, I would have cilantro and all that kind of stuff and put it on, but I didn't want to go to the store again just to buy cilantro, so I'm going to put it all together, and then it says to cook for how long?
It says to add the marinade now that's left in the bowl.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It says 20 minutes, turn it on low. Do not taste test to see if it needs more salt. Oh, do taste test.
Do.
But don't taste
I
it
don't have
now
glasses.
because it's raw chicken.
No,
Yuck.
no, after.
Okay,
So that tomato sauce and the cream don't curdle.
no,
Okay.
it's not simple, so that's all it is. So we're just gonna cook it till the chicken's totally done. About 20 minutes. Huh?
And the flavors vary.
Yeah, the flavors marry, cause we got raw chicken juice, so we don't want any of that to not be cooked. So when this is cooked and the rice is cooked, it's ready to go. Now, was that simple?
Yeah.
So for the price of 1 order of butter chicken, we could feed all of you guys this stuff. So it's really economical. So I'm gonna put a lid on it, just so that it cooks faster. So what else can I talk about?
Well, Howard Butter chicken and tikka different?
Just look at the seasonings, it's just a hair different. And they both use chicken thighs. My friend told me that butter chicken used thighs and tikka masala used breasts, but I look at this recipe and they both use chicken thighs. So I think the thighs and the breasts are interchangeable. We always like to use chicken thighs because they remain moist and tender no matter how, like if I heat this up tomorrow, it'll still be delicious. Whereas the longer I cook chicken breast, the more, yeah, the drier it gets. Even in all the gravy, it feels like it's dry.
I think the turmeric in the masala could make a definite difference in the
Mhm.
marinade, yeah. Not only in color, but the flavor.
So which one has more, tikka or the butter? Turmeric.
Tikka.
Tikka has more turmeric. See?
And then you have cumin.
More what?
Carol?
Yes.
More hot stuff.
Yeah.
Serrano chilies, and more of the Kashmiri chili powder and then Hungarian paprika, so maybe it's a little hotter.
Hotter and smokier.
At the restaurant, there's different colored sauces. One's like more red and one's more creamy. That's
So-
from the turmeric.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
And the
Paprika.
peppers, the red.
No, that's right, the tikka has much less cream.
Tikka has less cream. Okay, so I would just try them both. And if you don't have one of the seasonings, just leave it out. Or go buy some garam masala and just
You
use
mean
it.
like these dried whole fenugreek leaves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Substitute cilantro when you serve it. So, I was just at Albertsons just an hour ago, and they have chicken thighs. They're not boneless, they're not skinless, but they're only 99 cents a
Oh,
pound.
that's a good
And they were
deal.
pretty decent size.
99 cents a pound of thighs that have bone and skin for 99 cents a pound. That is good. Chicken's very expensive.
Which
Albertsons.
Albertsons. What?
Thighs. Bone and thighs and skin.
Yes,
Can you tell me what replaced bamboo garden?
saffron.
It's called saffron,
And it's Indian food.
and that's good.
And Mohammed worked in a Chinese restaurant for many years as well as Indian, so I loved his style because it's kind of a fusion of Chinese, and so he is really a good cook.
Is it buffet?
It's a buffet too, and I think it's,
I'm sorry?
yeah, I think was $14.99. It includes your drink and the, you know, whatever,
Whatever.
all that kind of stuff. They have rice pudding at the Himalayan, so it's probably worth a try.
Try
Yeah.
both. They're both fresh. That's what we like, is that it tastes
Yeah.
nice and fresh and not full of grease and oil and, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And Taste of Nepal, I hear that's wonderful.
And where's that?
Downtown by Grecian Key. I've never been there, have you? Taste of
Oh,
Nepal.
and I'm not eating out enough.
Well, most people don't go out and eat Indian food because that's,
They're not familiar with it.
so that's why this is a fun one to teach because it's a whole nother world out there. Now you need to learn how to eat Peruvian and Colombian and oh my gosh, Brazilian, Cuban, oh,
Ukraine.
yeah,
I've heard little pierogies. I mean, I have friends that are just from, gosh, where they come from? Kansas. I mean, and there's a whole community there that they exist on pierogies. They're good.
Yeah.
Just little stuff you find. Did you
Does
get
anyone
your
know
Marcella back?
it's probably somebody's
So
purse.
what's the name of the place by Cafe Rio?
Himalayan flavors.
That's there too?
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be Skipper's. That's one I always go to because it's close to our house and
Himalayan.
Himalayan. And the buffet. You know, if you like to eat, all you can eat is a good thing.
But you have to be out of there by 2:00.
Right.
Because they shut it down till when they want, everybody, we were there past 2, about 20 after, and the girl came up. She goes, I'm sorry, but we're closing.
Right.
I thought it was just a buffet. it was the whole entire restaurant
Right,
that was
right.
closing.
So,
He says, we have to leave here before 2:30.
right. So they only pay them till 2:30 and then they come back at 4. So,
This is a small tidbit.
yeah.
For those who like, I don't know if you know, but for those who like ginger, fresh ginger, if you have too much ginger, leftover ginger that you're cooking with, wrap it in foil and put it in the freezer.
Mm.
And then if it's raining or snowing or whatever, and you need ginger, you don't wanna run to the store, you got fresh ginger.
That's good to
It'll be
know.
frozen, but you can still take, peel it
Right.
and
Freezes
grate
it.
it.
And what I use is I use a rasp
Okay.
to grate it.
She was asking,
I
so
was
you call that a
wondering.
rasp?
Yeah,
Okay.
You
There's
find that in the
also-
stores?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
also called a microplaner.
yeah.
And so
It might be a microplaner.
Some
I
of
made
them are
up
longer,
the
like
rasp.
that long blade.
I make up stuff all the time.
It's okay. Does yours come with a cover? Does that have a cover?
No, no, so if you get your hand in there, you
They're
can
real
just,
sharp.
yeah.
Only grates one
Where'd you
way.
purchase that?
They're just in your kitchen utensils
Big
or
C.
Amazon.
Big, yeah, Big Five has them, Fred Meyer has them, I'm sure that any place
Yeah.
carries.
I love Amazon because I don't have to go anywhere. I just order it and they send me one microplaner. That's it. That's all I needed.
Frequent
I
stops.
go to the
at
store,
66.
I have to buy everything. And if I'm hungry, I have to buy the roasted chicken at Costco as well, so I can eat one piece. And they go, now what am I gonna do with it? Actually, I make soup and all that kind of stuff, but
Right,
when you're hungry, you buy a whole chicken because that's what you wanna eat.
because you can use the rest of it for someone in.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how this is doing. Looks good.
It does look good.
Okay, well,
Our chicken gets done.
it'll be done here pretty quick because it's boiling hard. And you guys will just get to eat tons, so what's better than that? And if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
I cook the basmati rice all the time, I don't use any other kind. But I do rinse it, put it in the pan, the boiling pan and boil it, and then I add a tablespoon of butter and put the lid on and just let it sit, and then fluff it up. And it is really good, and it does get fluffy, it's probably not as fluffy as that's good, but.
So where you buying your basmati?
I'm so hungry right
You can
now.
buy it- I
It
buy it
smells
at
so
Costco.
good.
It's by all the rices, it's just, you can buy it at Costco in the big giant bowl bag, or you can buy it in
Or if they have the basmati in bulk at Winkle, so.
Yeah.
the other one I like is jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yes, jasmine's good, that's right.
So I decided I can always buy basmati and jasmine at Costco. And so I decided I was gonna go to Himalayan Craft Shop because it's a local place just for fun. And they had 2 varieties of rice. No, they had like 10 varieties of basmati rice, but I bought the one that was 20 pounds and it was $25. And that's the same price as Costco's. So I felt fine about buying it. And he said that he used to work in a Indian restaurant, and those are the brands that were the most popular.
Where's this craft shop at?
Do you know where Goody's Sandwich Shop is across from ISU?
You know where Elmer's restaurant is? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's out on South Street.
Kind of by the new McDonald's, if you just keep going north.
What's it called?
I don't know,
Himalayan Craft and Smoke Shop.
So you can buy a lot of this stuff from there.
Yeah. But seriously, you just need to buy Garam masala. Because it has all of that in there.
did it have a smaller size of that?
Yeah.
Did you look to see when you were there if they had a smaller size of it?
They only had a smaller size. They had like a plastic
Okay.
bag that
Okay.
had this on it.
Where is the garam masala?
Yeah.
Alexa, where is it?
What?
Where is it?
What?
You passed it, the
Where's
garam
that
masala.
jar?
It's over there. I see
Oh,
it.
okay, all right, I'm just curious.
So the garam masala has all the spices in it.
So if we just
And
buy
some.
our
Oh, you got
For as much as you're gonna cook, I would just use garam masala and call it good.
That particular brand had a lot more seasoning in it than what was called
Yeah.
from this would be, really, yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you get the garam masala in the stores?
Garam masala I got you could get at Himalayan Flavor. Heidi says you could buy the garam masala already made up in a jar like spaghetti sauce.
The tikka masala.
Oh, tikka masala, which is similar. Or you can order it from Amazon, which the black rice we did the other night, they had it on Amazon. And I looked at Himalayan Flavor to see if they had black rice, and they did it.
So did they do the black rice class here? Did I miss it?
It was, that's when you thought I was gonna teach. It was our steak,
Yeah.
and so it was during our steak night. Okay, I think it's ready. It's boiling hard. And it said that you can thicken it. In some of the recipes I've seen, you can thicken it with cornstarch too.
So you make a slurry and thicken it down?
Yeah. But I don't think we need to. That just adds extra calories and stuff. All right. Are you ready to try it, folks?
Sure.
Okay, I hope you like it. If anything, it might need more salt. That's the palate that people, it differs for different people. Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome.
Always fun when you teach.
I don't know about your red leaves, but our red leaves and black pepper right now has butter for $2.
Oh, really? Butter? There you go.
It is $2 ours too.
Oh, good. Ridley's?
You have to buy 4, or, you know, it's 2 for 4, so.
That's good.
Ridley's? I think
And educate us.
Silly question.
Back in the day, I always thought cornstarch and milk. So water, so mix them, and then add, so can you just dump those on the, you still mix it with water? Okay.
Or add it when it's cold. And then when it comes to boil, then the cornstarch won't lump up. But if you add straight cornstarch into something that's already cooking, it will automatically cook the outside of your cornstarch and will have these little lumps in it.
You'll have rocks.
Yeah. All right. Think we're ready, folks.
Go ahead.
Don't be shy.
And if the rice tastes a little too clovey, it's because I added quite a bit. So if you go to any of the restaurants, their curry would be a little thicker. So it would be thicker either by using the cornstarch or by cooking it down, letting it simmer a while longer. It's hot. Come on, guys.